everybody. Welcome to the Glenn Kuiper Show, All Giants, post-game edition tonight on a later in the evening Monday night. We wish we had good news for you. We wish we had exciting things to talk about. Bryce Eldridge, a big Giants win, and we have, unfortunately, none of that. Disappointing night for the San Francisco Giants. But we're going to talk about the game as best we can, talk about Bryce Eldridge, and get you ready for the final 12 games of this season. But as always, before we get going, let's check in with our sponsors, starting with the Kehrig Real Estate Team. Since 1978, the Kehrig Real Estate Team has been helping families buy and sell homes across the Bay Area with a legacy of client-first service. Whether you're moving up, downsizing, or making your first purchase, go to Kehrig Real Estate. They are the people that will help you. Contact Mike Kehrig today. Give him a call at 925-548-4132. The website is kehrigteam.com. And we're also brought to you by Tilden Properties. By investing with Tilden Properties, you'll see quarterly dividends and equity buildup in the real estate market. Bay Area-based and family-owned Tilden Properties has been building investment wealth for their clients since 2008. Call them at 925-209-8558 to invest. Go to their website as well, tildenproperties.com. So you know the drill. Hit the like button. Tell your friends to subscribe. You subscribe. Hopefully you'll like the show. As we do each and every show, kind of give you a little heads up on what we're going to do. The game, Eldridge, why he's here, is it a good idea? And also we're going to go through his 3 at-bats. I thought that would be kind of fun. Look at each at-bat, each pitch that was thrown to him, how he did, even though he only got the 3 at-bats. And then we'll give a quick update on this National League wildcard race as it just the mountain gets a little bit higher every night especially when you lose for the Giants as time is running out. So anyways, and your comments, check in with me. I know it's a disappointing night, but 12 more to play, and you got to get back after it tomorrow night. Final score tonight in Arizona was the Diamondbacks 8 and the Giants 1. A pretty good ball game up until the 6th inning, and then the wheels just completely fell off. For the Giants, they only had 2 hits. They had as many hits as errors. That is never, ever a good sign. And the Diamondbacks had 8 runs and 9 hits, and they sprayed the ball all over the ballpark. And they do what they do. They start running around the bases, and they got good speed, and the Giants just couldn't stop them. So anyways, taking a look at my score sheet, especially with the Giants, I mean, there's really there's nothing to really even look at. I mean, this offense is very much struggling right now. They only had 2 hits tonight. Casey Schmidt had a homer and a single. That was it. They only had 4 base runners. In fact, outside of Casey Schmidt circling the bases on his home run, they did not get a runner to second base the entire night. They struck out 10 times. Zach Gallen was good. He's going to be a highly sought-after free agent pitcher at the end of this season. And the Giants have faced him a lot. He was good tonight. He's got an excellent changeup. I mean, the Giants just could not get anything going. So there's just nothing, on the score sheet. Adames was 0 for 4. Rafael Devers is scuffling, and this is not a good time for him to be struggling because they need him desperately. But he was 0 for 4 tonight, and he's now 2 for his last 25. So he had that terrific hot streak, but right now he's cooling off big time. And the Giants really, really need him to get hot, like starting tomorrow at 6:40, first pitch. Chapman was 0 for 3. He walked. Bryce Eldridge 0 for 3 in his debut. Again, we're gonna look at each one of his at bats closely. Another struggling Elliot Ramos 0 for 3 tonight. He's 3 for his last 26. So a couple of the Giants' big hitters quiet right now. Bailey was 0 for 3 again. Schmidt with the only 2 hits, and Gilbert 0 for 3. So there's really not much going on in the box score. I wish there was. The Diamondbacks, on the other hand, again, another night where another game where the opposition seems to have base runners all over the place. But Perdomo was the thorn in the side tonight, the leader. He's a terrific player. You maybe don't hear enough about him because he's playing in Arizona, and I don't know. But he is a terrific, terrific player. And we've seen him kind of take over the shortstop job as a really young player. And now a couple years in, a very established player. And he's sensational. And tonight he had a single, a double, a triple, and 2 walks. So he was on base 5 times out of that leadoff spot. And so Perdomo kind of led the way, but it was all about that 6th inning. Kai-Wei Tang for the Giants pitched good, 4 innings. Gave up just that unearned run in the first, but it was his mistake, a throwing error. But at 73 pitches, and remember his last outing, he was great through 4, and then he kind of fell apart in the 5th inning. About the same amount of pitches as his last start. He did his job tonight. He pitched well. It was a 1-1 game when he left, and like I said, the bullpen just imploded in that 6th inning, and we'll talk about that bullpen. But Tang was good for 4 innings, but nothing else on the pitching side really did much for the Giants. So the Giants have now lost 3 straight, and I've been a guy who has said it for a couple weeks now. When you're chasing another team, and you're playing well, but you just can't quite get there. The worst thing that can happen is if you have a losing streak. I even said they're at the spot now, and I said this last week, where you can't lose 2 in a row. Well, unfortunately, they have. Not only have they lost 2, now they've lost 3 in a row. And it has not been a competitive 3 games. Of course, the last 2 to the Dodgers, and then tonight. So the Giants in this 3-game losing streak have been outscored 31-10. 31-10. And they've been out-hit 44-15 in this little 3-game losing streak. And I say little because it's only 3 games, but at the point we are in the season, it feels much, much bigger than that. And the thing that I've been concerned about, and I've said it on this show, the Giants traded the relievers at the deadline, and then they lost Rodriguez. And I think we all feel like that was the right thing to do because the team was not playing very well at the deadline. And then they amped up and they really started playing well. But the bullpen had a lot of unknowns in it, had a lot of guys that hadn't been in the big leagues very long. And I've been concerned about that really all along, even when they were playing good baseball. I was just, you felt like you were just kind of holding on with the bullpen. And you're starting to see the cracks now. And again, in this 3-game losing streak, and I know I'm emphasizing that, but you can't lose 3 in a row at this time of year. That's why I'm emphasizing it. But the bullpen in these 3 games has allowed 19 runs in 14 innings. And, I don't know if I'm not saying it's wear and tear. I'm just saying, these guys are unproven. Most of the people down there, if you look at the names, they're unproven. And I think that, unfortunately, is starting to show. And that's something that I've been concerned about. And it just, you feel like it's starting to show up a little bit. So after 150 games, the Giants are 75-75. So right back to the old 500 mark. They had shot 3 games up over, got to a half game behind the Mets, and now they're 2 back of the Mets, and they do not have the tiebreaker. So that's where we're at there. Ugly night. What else can we say, right? It is what it is. But of course, the fun news came. Actually, saw it late last night, and then came out in full today with Bryce Eldridge being called up. Very exciting. Looking forward tonight just to seeing Bryce Eldridge in the big leagues. There's been so much talk about should he come up, should he not come up? Is he ready? Is he not ready? And I think with the injury to Dom Smith, that opened the door. I don't think they bring Eldridge up if Don Smith doesn't get hurt. But he did, and there was an opening there, and they made the decision. So Eldridge is a big leaguer in the lineup tonight, hitting 5th. He went 0 for 3. Here's a kid who's only 20 years old, and it's pretty amazing if you think about it. Just 20 years old. Stop and think, what the heck were you doing when you were 20 years old, right? I mean, boy. I mean, I had just finished my sophomore year in college, sophomore year in junior college, playing baseball. It's amazing that this young man is in the big leagues. He'll be 21 in October. Just a couple years ago, he was the first pick for the Giants back in 2023. I took a quick look at, his minor league. How many games did he play in the minor leagues? 249 minor league games, a little over 1,000 at bats. Last year had a full year. Last year is when he covered it all: A, high A, double A, and triple A. Ended up with 23 home runs. This year, he's had a couple injuries, but still, he's got in 102 games, and the numbers are great: 25 home runs, 84 RBIs. Strikeouts are high. We've talked a lot about that, but I think one thing I wanted to get to is, and we've talked about Bryce Eldridge in the past, and about maybe a month ago, there was, I think I was on with Marty, and we talked a lot about it, and I was not in favor of bringing up Bryce Eldridge at that time, and that was the thing for me is when he was really swinging it well and putting up good numbers, which he really has done all year. But my thing was, when the people started chirping about bringing him up, and I was against it, that my thought was that was in August. It was about the middle of August. He had a little hot streak, right? And I just felt like at that point in the season, the big league team was really, really struggling. Okay. And, I felt like I don't want to bring a kid up with all this hype when the big league team is really struggling. Okay. Because then just, human nature, a 20-year-old is going to feel like he has to turn this thing around for the big league team. And that's probably not possible, right? And maybe that's I just think nobody in the Giants organization would have said, Bryce, you got to carry us. Let's go. No, of course not. But I just think the natural feeling for a kid, or really any minor leaguer that you bring up, when the team is struggling, they're going to feel like I got to do something to help them struggling. And listen, it was mid-July to mid-August. When you just look at the Giants schedule, mid-July to mid-August is when the Giants were in a stretch where they lost 21 out of 28 games. Okay, 21 out of 28, and that's when you feel like they had fallen out of it. But even if you feel like you had fallen out of it back then, and the Giants have got themselves back in it, but I just didn't think at the time that calling your best prospect up and putting him in the lineup when your team is in that kind of a slump, and it was a long slump, I didn't think the timing was right on that. Now it's a little bit different. There's not a lot of time left. There is a spot for him with the Dom Smith injury. So I just, I don't want to contradict myself and say it's great that he's here when a month and a half ago I said, I'm not sure it's a great idea, but that was my reasoning. Don't bring your best prospect up and expect him to lift you out of the doldrums. And it was doldrums. We all know that. Again, lost 21 out of 28. Right around that time where Eldridge was swinging it a little bit and people wanted him up here. So back then, no, I didn't think it was a good idea. Calling him up now, 2 weeks left in the season. He is going to play. He's going to start at DH against right-handed pitching. That's what Bob said. I think it's I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. And it was a lot of fun to see him, just see him in the big leagues. We've watched him. We've seen highlights, and I think it's great. And I wanted to read a quote from Buster on, why he was brought up at this point and kind of what he thinks about, what he could do. And again, this is Buster talking this afternoon. He said, quote, "I think he has the type of personality where he'll probably embrace this environment. He's not going to be a guy that's going to shy away from having some real big at-bats for us." So again, that's end quote. That's Buster talking about Eldridge. And And I kind of know what he's saying because everybody I've talked to about Eldridge, uh, scouts, Giants coaches, Giants minor league coaches, Giants minor league executives, they all said the same thing about him, that he doesn't act like a 20-year-old. He certainly doesn't look like a 20-year-old, but he doesn't act like a 20-year-old. There's a maturity to him. Uh, there's a mental strength to him that kind of shows. He's a confident kid. Uh, he knows he's good. He wants to be great. So I think that all came into play for the Giants. They want to be careful with this kid because he's going to be special. Okay. And I think Buster's point is this is not going to overwhelm him for 2 weeks. He's going to be fine. He's actually looking forward to it. He was, I'm super psyched to be here. Well, of course he is, but nothing that's going to happen in the next 2 weeks is going to hurt him or overwhelm him because he is, a very mature kid. So, I think that's why, I don't think there's a lot to worry about as far as what if he doesn't get a hit or whatever. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. There's also some cool notes about Eldridge playing tonight. Youngest Giants player to appear in a game since Madison Bumgarner in 2010. Again, just 20 years old. Eldridge will be 21 in October. Youngest Giants position player to appear in a game since Jeff Ransom in 1981. Giants fans, you remember Jeff Ransom? I remember the name. I don't know what he was all about. And how about this one? Last 20-year-old to homer for the Giants, Jack Clark in 1976. Jack the Ripper. He was 20 years old. Man, could that guy hit. Look up his career sometime. He was a great Giant. Jack the Ripper. So anyways, those are just a couple fun notes that were out about Eldridge being in the big leagues for the first time. And let's hope he never goes back. Let's see. All right, there's a few comments out there. I'm going to check on those, see what anybody. Christy says, really interesting article about your brother in the TV trailer. Yeah, in fact, I tweeted something about John Shea wrote a very cool article in the San Francisco Standard about the TV production and what goes on in the TV truck. That's what it's called. That's where all the production happens. Big semi truck underneath the bleachers. My brother Jeff's been doing that he's been producing Giants games for 38 years. And he's a very, very talented guy. And John Shea wrote a cool article, kind of went into the background of what happens in this TV truck and how those guys work with the announcers. And interesting. Check it out if that interests you at all. It was a John Shea article again in the San Francisco Standard. So good stuff. And I'm very proud of both my brothers. Marty Leary and friends, talking about Marty. I love Marty. He's my guy. Yeah, tough game. That would be an understatement. You had such good feelings about it. And, I was on with Marty. Marty and I put our shows on together last night, and that was a lot of fun. And we were excited about this series and excited about getting back on the winning track. But you know what? That did not happen. So nothing we can do about it, right? You got to move on and hope that something can happen in the next couple nights. We shall see. The thing that's a little scary, we have not heard who's pitching for the Giants tomorrow night. We do know Verlander will pitch on Wednesday. So anyways, I wanted to get into the Eldridge at-bats a little bit just because we've all been, looking forward to just seeing him, see what his at-bats were all about. We know the scouting report, right? Obviously, unbelievable power, strikes out a lot, has trouble. What everybody was saying is he has trouble with the off-speed pitches down. Okay. That's where he's swinging and missing a lot. And then if you're at the big league level, then, that's where they're going to go to. They're going to go to it. So pitches down out of the strike zone are where he has swung and missed a lot. Fastballs, you do damage. And if you throw a fastball away, we've seen many times, he goes the other way as well as he has as much power the other way as probably any big leaguer at this point. He's just that's how strong he is. So that's why I wanted to really watch how Zach Gallen, a good veteran pitcher, kind of attacked Bryce Eldridge. So in that first at bat in the second inning, he started him with a fastball, teased him away, and Eldridge had kind of a funky swing. And then it was I saw 4 straight changeups. A changeup for a ball, a swinging changeup that was down, but then he's down in the count 1-2, and he took 2 changeups that were down. So I was impressed with that. He saw a changeup and it was a ball, and then he saw a changeup and swung and missed, and then he took 2, laid off. The pitch was down, which, that was kind of what I was watching. How is he going to handle these good off-speed pitches down in the strike zone? And he did a pretty good job. He then got a fastball and he grounded out to first. But so he saw 6 pitches in his first at bat. I had 4 of them as changeups, and he was able to lay off 3 of them. So that was the first at bat. And then in the 4th inning, he came up for his second at bat. He got a first pitch changeup. It was called a strike. It wasn't. The home plate umpire was not good tonight at all. Didn't matter in the outcome of the game, but it was not good. So Eldridge had a bad strike call there, and then he fouled back a fastball, and then he got a change for a ball, and he got a curveball for a ball. He laid off a changeup and a curveball, both down, and then Gallen, who's got a good breaking ball, he threw him another curveball, and that time Eldridge swung and missed. So you kind of see how these veteran pitchers are at the big league level. They're so good. So in that at-bat, Eldridge saw 5 pitches, but a couple curveballs, and Eldridge never saw a curveball in that first at bat. So Gallen figures, you know what, I'll keep the curveball for a second at bat. He hasn't seen that yet. And then he dropped back-to-back ones on his 4th and 5th pitch, and he ended up getting Eldridge swinging, missing. So there's that cat and mouse game. And then in the 7th inning, new pitcher Rashi comes in, a fastball for a called strike, a changeup for a ball inside. So again, he was able to lay off a changeup. And then he got a fastball, and he hit that ball really well to left center field. In fact, he hit it terrific. I think Dwayne said it would have been out in like 2/3 of the ballparks in Major League Baseball, but got ran down right at the warning track. But he hit that ball well. He probably didn't get all of it, but he hit it well. Again, that was on a fastball, a little out, and that's the ball he can hit. But it was 106 miles an hour exit velocity. So that was fun to watch. So he saw 3 pitches there, got a couple of fastballs and another changeup. So if you just think, we do the math here. So he saw 14 pitches in his 3 at-bats, and I got him for 7 of those 14 being changeups, a couple of curveballs, and the rest fastballs. So just kind of a fun thing I wanted to do and just look and see how they're going to approach this kid. And the thing is, if you're if you have issues with off-speed pitch, many hitters do, and I think for somebody like Eldridge, who's got some swing and miss in his game, which is fine. A lot of hitters do. If you do damage when you do make contact, then that sort of makes up for a lot of swing and miss. You don't want to have a ridiculous amount. But I think with Eldridge, when the kryptonite is the off-speed pitch down, okay, again, that's kryptonite for most hitters, actually. A good changeup down or a good breaking ball down. I don't know that you're not going to learn how to hit that pitch, because it's probably not a hittable pitch, okay, because it's out of the strike zone, it's down. But so you're not going to say, I need to learn how to hit that pitch. What Eldridge has to do is learn how to not swing at it, okay? And he will do that as time goes on. And the more he learns to lay off the pitch. Now, you're not going to lay off it every time, because some guys got great changeups. And you see really good hitters swing at changeups all the time and miss. It happens all the time at the big league level, because everybody's got a good changeup, seems like. So Eldridge has to learn to not hit the low pitch that's out of the strike zone. He just needs to learn to lay off it. Even if you lay off it half the time from where you're at now, that will allow him to be a much better hitter. He'll get into better hitting counts. And when you get into better hitting counts, then you see more fastballs. And if he sees more fastballs, then he's going to do big time damage. So, something to watch for with Bryce Eldridge. We're going to see him a fair amount here in the final 2 weeks. And, listen, at some point he's going to get to the big leagues for real, or for good, I should say. And, And he's going to do a lot of damage because you just don't see talent like this very often. And let's be glad that he's only 20 years old. He's a giant, and he's in the big leagues. And I don't know if he's going to play tomorrow. Rodriguez, the lefty, is throwing for Arizona. But I want to say there's a righty on Wednesday, and then you get the Dodgers, and they got mostly right-handers. So he's going to play. He's going to be out there. And it'll be fun to watch. But just keep a close eye on his at-bats. Watch the pitches that are thrown to him and see if you see some progress laying off. I thought he did a good job tonight because, again, he saw a lot of changeups, and he was able to, for the most part, lay off those pitches. Little things like that are going to help him become an even better hitter, make a little more contact, lay off bad pitches, get a few more fastballs. And then he's going to do some damage. So anyways, let me check the comments, and then we'll move on to our last segment. I don't want to keep anybody up too late tonight. Let's see. Juan says, I wish the Giants would keep the momentum going, but the pitching isn't stable at the moment. No, it's not. And that's an issue. I talked about the bullpen. We didn't get good starts over the weekend. Obviously, Friday night, yes, but Saturday, Webb was not great, Ray. So let's hope these guys are okay. We talked about last night with Marty that maybe Ray was getting tired because of his innings, but, he did say after the game, no, he said, I'm fine. I feel good. My arm is good. I'm in a pitching slump, and that does happen. So we'll see, but we'll get Logan Webb on Thursday in game 1 of that huge Dodger series, and then Robbie Ray's going to pitch on Friday. So I'm a little more worried about the bullpen, So Juan checking in. I appreciate Juan. Juan says, I always enjoy the show. Happy Roberto Clemente Day. Roberto Clemente, saw some of the players wearing his uniform number 21. And there's a lot of talk about should Major League Baseball retire Roberto Clemente's number 21. And I think they think about it. I think, like Jackie Robinson's obviously super well-deserved. With 42, nobody wears that. What about Roberto Clemente and all the things that he did for the Latin players coming up? So interesting. But I'm glad that Major League Baseball is honoring Roberto Clemente because obviously, we all know the story and how he passed away. But, he deserves all the accolades. There's no question about that. So, indeed, happy Roberto Clemente Day. So, let's finish the show with getting my banner up. This is what these are called, folks. Learning this trade here. So the banner. All right. National League West wildcard race with all the games final. And really, there was only a couple games that we're keeping a close eye on. The Mets did not play tonight. So they had the night off. They will host the San Diego Padres in a 3-game series tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. So that's a big series to watch. Giants still got a shot there with the Padres helping them out. Padres a good team. Mets, trying to get back in the winning route. So maybe the Padres can help the Giants and the Diamondbacks out here. Again, that's in New York, 3-game series starting tomorrow night, Mets and Padres. The Cincinnati Reds, remember, they got swept over the weekend by the A's, but they were able to bounce back tonight. They beat the St. Louis Cardinals by a final score of 11-6. So the Reds, like the Giants, are 75-75. And the Cardinals, who were in there hanging on at the end there in this wild card race, well, they're done now. They have lost 6 out of their last 7. And, so they're now 73-78. So the Cardinals not officially eliminated, but you can check them off. So where we're at right now, folks, with the games being final, heading into tomorrow's action, the Mets have that 3rd wild card spot. The Diamondbacks now 76-75, so they're a game and a half back. The Giants at 500 are 2 back. The Reds at 500 are 2 back. So Mets, Diamondbacks, Giants, Reds, all within 2 games of each other with 12 games to play. So that's where it's at. unfortunately for the Giants, they have lost 3 in a row at an inopportune time. But, that's what happens. Yeah, you were worried about the Dodgers, and now you got to worry about the Diamondbacks, because the Diamondbacks have moved ahead of the Giants by a half game. So that is the update. I wanted to do a post-game show tonight so we could talk a little bit about Bryce Eldridge. I wish we would have had a W to talk about. But again, it's very cool seeing Bryce Eldridge in the big leagues. And let's hope he doesn't go back to AAA. We'll find out maybe next spring training if that's the case. But good-looking player with immense power. And let's enjoy the final 2 weeks, and let's enjoy seeing, Bryce in the big leagues. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the show. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And I, as always, enjoy the subscribers and the viewers very much. We appreciate you being part of the whole deal. So that's it for the show. We will see you a little bit later on in the week with another edition of the Glenn Kuiper Show, All Giants, and we'll be talking Giants baseball. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Our show tonight, and as always, is brought to you by the Kehrig Real Estate Team. Whether you're moving up, downsizing, or making your first home purchase, call the Kehrig Real Estate Team at 925-548-4132 and check out their website, kehrigteam.com. When you call that number, ask for Mike Kehrig. And Tilden Properties, as an investor, one of the best places to put your money is California's multifamily real estate. Tilden Properties will help you do that. They will invest your money in the multifamily real estate, and you're going to get nothing but good returns. You want to join these people, I'm telling you. Go to tildenproperties.com or call them at 925-209-8558. They're Bay Area-based, family-owned. Tilden Properties has been building investment wealth for their clients since 2008. Thank you to my two sponsors, Tilden Properties and the Kehrig Real Estate Team. A tough night for the Giants. Hope you enjoyed the show, everybody. And we will see you a little bit later on this week with another edition of the Glenn Kuiper Show, All Giants. Have a good night, everybody.